wanted to start off if we could get everybody's name and what you do. Obviously, I know, but for each other and for the people watching. And then I can explain a little bit how we can do this, and then we can get started. So,
Okay.
Jack, you're at the top of our little um, rectangle of people. So if you maybe want to introduce yourself for us, what you do, or just little background so we know about you.
Sure, yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Jack. I grew up in Evanston, Illinois, where Justin grew up, and grew up being friends with his little brother. So that's how we know each other. And for the last 10 years, I've been living in Vermont, in Burlington, Vermont. And mostly since I graduated college in 2016, and since then, mostly been working in climate, trying to address the climate crisis, and in politics as well. So yeah.
That sounds good. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Berna, you're next in our little rectangle of people. Want to
Okay,
share
so
who you are, a little bit about yourself, so we know.
sure. I am Berna Baez, and I'm a proud realtor at Optimal One Real Estate Companies. Um, I've been a realtor licensed since 2003. So it has been like 18 years, 19 years. But 17 years I did timeshare in a row. I was uh, I was doing pretty good. I surprised myself how wonderful the journey was until I got burned out. So I said, more, no more of this. Let's do the real estate. So I came out of the box and said, okay, I'm just going to do residential, commercial real estate, and everything started out pretty nicely until the pandemic hit. And then I say, oops, so now what? So instead of following my people's steps and my brokers, I decided to open a corporation. I created a corporation. I started starting my own food business. So I'm actually a caterer, a cook, and I also sell food for offices. I do lunch for a lot of people in my community. And I also sell food at the farmers market on Sundays in front of my real estate office, right at Monroe's Street Market. So from there, I noticed that I am a little tired. I think I'm getting a little bit old. So I said, you know what? This doing all this food and not focusing on the real estate is not helping. So I'm kind of struggling right now. I don't know if I should keep on going with my own business or focus more on real estate or find another job.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Our last but not least.
Yeah, hi everybody. I am Ada Maisone. I'm from Puerto Rico. Maybe you can notice my accent. It's a little bit different, not to be looking. But I've been living in Florida since 2007, and since I moved here, Florida, I decided to become a real estate agent. I had my experience sell my own house over there in Puerto Rico, and then I decided, well, I'm a mom with two young girls. I just need to have the opportunity to make a living, but at the same time be present with my girls. So I decided to do real estate on the same year that I moved from Puerto Rico. So since 2007, I'm a real estate agent full time. I had the opportunity to work with different company, not too many. I'm not the kind of person that switched too much, but it gave me the opportunity to work in different market, and obviously with international client as well. So I decided in 2021 open my own brokerage, and it's been great experience. We have a small team, and this from the beginning of this year, I decided to move my whole team to EXP, and here we are, just working daily basis. My area expertise residential vacant land and new construction project. A little bit of commercial, not commercial certified, but I love and I have passion for the commercial. So, and this is my story.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys. So just to give you like a little bit of idea of some of the types of questions that I usually answer, or just to kind of guide you a little bit, though you can take it wherever you want. Um, the most simple way that I can explain how I try to help people, um, probably the easiest way that I can explain it for you guys is the definition of success that I use, which is from Earl Nightingale. Maybe some of you guys have heard me say this before. I don't know, or maybe you're familiar with this definition. But he says success is the pursuit of a worthy ideal, meaning that if we know what we want, what that worthy ideal is for us, and we're going towards it, then we're a success. And when we're not, that's where we get stuck. So when we're not happy, when we're not fulfilled, usually it's because we don't really know what this is clear enough, and or we're not moving towards it. So for example, when there's these millionaires and billionaires who are unhappy and nobody understands why that is, this is why that is. It's because they either don't know what that is and or they're not moving towards it. And so the things that I help with are, performance, happiness, fulfillment. I don't really market myself as like a business coach where I sit down with people and have my little chart of all the different systems to implement. But the things that I help people with, we tend to get stuck in business and personal life for a lot of the same reasons. And usually when we can fix those things, um, business massively improves just like personal life. And so that gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of my approach and the things I help with. So wanted to open the floor for you guys. We can kind of maybe just making as many rounds as we can make in the time we have of everybody. But whatever you guys want to ask me, places that you're getting stuck, places you're frustrated, things are going a certain way, you're not really sure why that is, you're not really sure what to do next. Anything like that is probably going to be good questions. Obviously, my background is sales. I'm new home sales with real estate. Like Berna, similar to timeshare. So anything sales related would be good questions for you too if you want. But yeah, so maybe we can start with Jack since he's at the top and introduce himself first. And again, we'll probably have a number of times to go around. We're lucky to only have 3 people, which is great. We can be very deep. But Jack, talk to us of what questions you have for me right now, or where you're getting stuck, or what you wish was going differently, or what's on your mind.
Sure, yeah. I guess one thing I've been thinking about recently, and
Uh-huh.
as I try to kind of configure my work life and my life in general, I guess, is just sort of work-life balance. And for me, like my work has always been the things that I care about, that I'm passionate about, the things that I believe that I need to be doing in the world. So to me, like work has been like that source of meaning and higher purpose that you talk about. So it's not, but at the same time, so I guess like my tendency a lot of times has been to sort of overwork and really focus on going all out on what I believe in. Recently, I've been working a lot less, I would say, and having more time to spend like with friends or playing music or doing things that I really enjoy, but maybe they're not serving that higher purpose. And I think I'm just trying to figure out like, yeah, where that balance is and how to strike that balance of doing things that I just straight up enjoy versus doing things I think are important and like have an impact outside of my own circles, myself and my friends.
Okay. Okay, so that's a great question. I think that's a question that, oh, like my back hurts. That I think a lot of people have, especially people who are high performing people, which probably you guys all are, which is why you're interested in something like this. So I think first of all, one of the last things you said was doing things that I enjoy versus things that are meaningful. Um, I think first of all, the things that you enjoy are meaningful. So those are not really like mutually exclusive. There's a great line by Jim Rohn. Maybe I don't know if Ara has heard me say this before, but that everything affects everything else, right? So one of the things I do with my clients these days is I make this big chart, and there's all of these different categories of life that I measure, and I have them rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. And whenever there are areas that are below like a 3, let's say, those really need immediate attention. Like that's a problem. And so you can, another thing I say to my clients a lot, which really helps to kind of visualize, is think of your life like a garden, right? And there are all of these different categories of your life, and they're all like different areas of the garden, and they all matter. So a lot of times people do is they take care of the work category, but they're neglecting all these other categories of the garden. And so when we neglect it, the weeds grow and they get kind of raggedy and ugly, and the roots and stuff like go into the other ones. So, you know, the first part of the answer I would say is that they all matter. And I think people don't realize how much each category of life matters. You know, if friendship is a 1 or 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, or our passions or music or whatever, that affects us. You know, it even affects our ability to make more money. You know, so understanding that all categories of our life are important, and when they're lower, they kind of all drag each other down. And as you build on all of them and they're all higher, they all kind of push each other up. So you can really draw from the momentum you get of investing in that stuff. Now, does that mean you should spend every second of your day on music and friends and no time on work? Like, of course not. But what it does mean is when you allot some time per week to those things, that's valuable. That's what I tell my clients, this idea of high ROI time, high return on investment, right? Or high ROI activity. So I can tell you for me, I genuinely believe that the 45 minutes every other day that I spend dancing is very high ROI activity. Like I'm so fulfilled, I'm so happy. I know it helps me sell more, you know, and that's meaningful. So I guess the first thing to understand is all of it is meaningful. The second thing to understand is that even when you're allotting some time for friendship and music and those things, those are helping career, even though it doesn't look like it, because they're all pushing each other up. I think the third answer to that question is to think about like, well, what does it look like for you? So I don't think there's one perfect master work-life balance way, because it depends on the person, right? There are some people who need more of the friendship and music category, right? There's some people who don't need any of the music category, and to balance music and work like would be different than what yours would be. So kind of going back to the success of the pursuit of a worthy ideal. So your worthy ideal, what does it look like, the balance of all those things that's right for you? You know, like how often do you want to be hanging out with friends per week or per month? You know, what do you want to be doing? Who do you want to hang out with of those friends? For music, how often per week do you want to do that? And what does that look like, and for how long? You know, and kind of constructing what the answer is for you. I think a lot of times people want a blanket answer of like, work-life balance when it's successful looks like this. But remember, it just depends on what our worthy ideal is, right? Because each of us is going to be different. So I guess to give you a little more specifics and ask it to you as a question, you know, what does music look like for you if it's perfect in every way? Let's say throughout the course of a week, if you could have music in your life exactly the way you want it, what does that look like for you day to day or week to week?
You want me to answer
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
you just
Because we have a small enough group that I want you guys to really walk out of here with like tangible stuff of like, oh, okay, I can make my personal and business life better from this hour we just spent. So we're small enough that we can get a little bit of specifics here.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, music is what I enjoy doing the most, I would say. And in some ways, you know, I would love to just do it, you know, full time, basically. But at the same time, like to me, it doesn't fulfill the higher purpose. Like I love it. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and like it has a positive impact. But to me, it's not on par with like trying to address the climate crisis, which is what my career has been focused on. And that to me is a way bigger like societal issue that needs to be addressed, that I contribute to, that, you know, has more, that there's more at stake and there's more impact of that. So
I mean, you can
that's a
do all of
little
the
bit of the
above.
tension.
The great thing about life is that we get to weave all this together however we want. So it doesn't have to be like a full-time music or full-time climate, or like, oh, if I'm doing music, I'm not doing climate. We
Right.
want to construct this in the best way for us, you know?
Mhm.
So if music was perfect for you in your life, would you be doing an hour a day, an hour every other day? Like how present would it be? What would you be doing?
It would be a few hours a day for sure.
Okay. And like, would you be like rapping or like playing an instrument or making beats or like what would you be doing?
Playing piano,
Okay.
singing, playing with other people,
Okay.
writing music. Yeah, writing music.
And how often are you doing that now?
Um, Recently a lot. I mean, definitely not a few hours a day, I would say. I mean, some days it is a few hours, others it's like none. But um,
So how many hours a week
right,
are you doing it now?
the last few weeks I've been doing really a lot with music, like, like it is a couple hours a day on average.
Okay,
But
that's
that's not typical for me, but it feels really good though.
okay. Is there any, are you saying that you have music in your life in the way that you want it right now then or no?
Right now I do, yeah, because I'm playing more than I have been in a long time.
So is work suffering from that or you're just feeling a little guilty like, "Oh, I'm not saving climate right now. I'm spending too much time on music."
No, I mean it feels good, but it's just the the job I'm thinking of. There's a job that I'm thinking of applying for, and I feel like really motivated to apply for it and kind of take that job. But I think if I do that, it is going to take away from music and some of the, maybe not music, but like something's going to have to pull back, I guess, because right now I'm not working as much. But if I took this role, I'd be working a lot. So um, that's why I'm kind of thinking about it. Like right now, it's really good, but I think soon there's going to be a shift in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the job you have now and what's the other job? Like what are you deciding between?
Yeah. So I'm working basically a few different part-time jobs right now and also making money through music as well. Um, but this would be a full-time, like 40 to 50 hour a week job if I took it.
You wanted
So like I feel like I really want to take it and need to, but I'm just trying to prepare for, at that point how I'm gonna balance all these things that I've sort of gotten used to doing that I'll have probably less time for.
why do you want this new job or do you even want it at all?
No, I do want it for sure. I think it's a position that would really allow me to, I think it's a climate position and it's really about reducing fossil fuel use right in my own community and working with people throughout the city to cut their use of fossil fuel and help get them over to renewables. So I think the job would be pretty ideal in terms of what my mission, my life mission. But it would definitely be a lot. It would take a lot of time and energy. So that's just kind of like, yeah, I guess trying to figure out, and maybe I'll figure it out when I get there type thing, but figure out how to balance everything else when, if I get that job.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like your outcome, like what you're wanting to happen is you're wanting to get this job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think just needing to constantly return to like, how much of each of these things do you want in your life? Like what does perfect look like for you? There's a great line from Brian Tracy where he says, what does your life look like if it's perfect in every way and impossible to fail? And it's going to be different for each of us. So I would say for you, like really sitting down and being like, okay, so if I take this new job, how many hours is that? Okay, so how many hours a day is that? Like, what does my day look like? Like, okay, great. What are the remaining hours that I have? in these other remaining hours, if my life was perfect in every way and impossible to fail, like what do the rest of these hours look like? How many hours do I want to allot to music? What type of music? Playing with, how often do I want it to be playing with other people? How often do I want it to be practicing on my own? How often piano versus rapping versus whatever? You know, what does music look like for me if it's perfect? It sounds like you do want this job and that's like your bigger purpose or vision. And, you know, you want to do that. Just understand that all these pieces are important. There's not one way for work-life balance, and that you get to decide. You know, you get to decide what the ideal is music for you. Sit down for your friends and be like, okay, what do I want friendship to be like if it's perfect in every way and impossible to fail? You know, how often do I want to see these people? Who do I want to see? You know, what does ideal look like for me? Really looking into each of these different categories of our life, right? So family, friends, romance, our passions, spirituality, you know, health, like all of these different things. And that's one of the tricky things about life, but we get to construct it however we want, you know? So
Yeah.
don't worry about what someone else thinks or what society thinks would be the right work-life balance. Society might say, oh, a couple hours of music a day, that's crazy. You shouldn't be spending your time like that. But if it fulfills you and it makes you really happy, then yeah, you probably should, you know? And when you're fulfilled and you're happy, you're going to have more of an impact in your climate job too. So I would say if I was in your position or if I was helping you one-on-one or if we had way more time, um, I would really sit down and for each of these different areas, be like, okay, well, what does work-life balance look like for me if it's perfect in every way and impossible to fail? How would I be using these other hours? What does my ideal day look like? It's like, okay, so I go to work at this job. This is the job I'm excited about. Maybe come home, play music for an hour and a half, eat dinner, and then go out and have a drink with your friends. Just an example, you know? But our mind really thrives on specifics. So the more specific you can get it of exactly how you want it to look, the more likely it will happen and the faster you get there. But there's not one right answer for everyone. And don't be afraid to have those answers for yourself instead of what your parents think you should do or your friends or society or whatever. Because the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is our worthy ideal and that we're moving towards that. And so asking what does this look like that's perfect in every way and impossible to fail for each of those different categories, you know, and putting those in and splicing it all together so you can come up with basically what does your ideal day look like? What would be happening? What does my ideal week look like? What would be happening? And it's a constant process of tweaking that. But I think that I guess one final thing I'll leave you with for now, and then we can kind of keep things rotating around. But what was I just gonna say? I like just literally lost my train of thought.
Okay.
But just knowing your outcomes and being able to, oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. A lot of times, and this is a good answer for everyone. A lot of times how most people solve decisions or figure out what they should do is they say, okay, what are my options, right? Life is giving me
Right.
options A, B, C, D, and E. And based on the options life is giving me, I choose C, right? So what society thinks we should do, what the world thinks we should do, what our friends think we should do, what our company thinks, whatever. But how we want to start to think, which is not how the world teaches us to think, but it's a better way, is put aside what you think the right work-life balance way is, or how often people think you should be doing music or friend stuff or whatever. And instead of what you think your options are, to instead be like, okay, well, how do I actually want stuff to be going? And when you ask that question in the beginning, don't worry about how it would happen or if you think it was realistic or if you have the time or the resources or the money or the skill sets or whatever. In the beginning, when we're trying to figure out our outcome, we just want to know what it is, right? But most people never get there. They're like, they have a thought and they're like, oh, that's
And
not
like,
realistic.
oh.
They have a thought, they're like, oh, I don't know how I would do that. Or I don't have the time for that. Or that I don't even really see how that's possible. So, Jack, for you, instead of thinking like, what a normal work-life balance thing would be or what you feel your options are, try to move aside those thoughts and just think about, well, what's up here? Like, how would it be going? And don't worry in the very beginning exactly how you would do it because you can always get to the how later. But answering this question is very, very powerful, and you'll get your answers there more and more, and you'll play with it. You'll play with it like how much of time for each thing you want and keep
Yeah.
calibrating to what's right for you, you know?
No, that's super helpful. And I think the other thing you have me thinking about is like, if I know I want this job and I'm going to plan on getting it, and I know that it would start like probably in September, it then becomes also like, okay, so that means I have a few months right now
Hmm?
that I can really like, before that transition and before that different lifestyle, that I can try to get the most out of and take advantage of the fact that I'm not working as much and, really lean in potentially to some of these other things, knowing that I'm going to be having that shift.
Yeah, and I mean, ask yourself, what does the next 3 months look like if it's perfect in every way and impossible to fail? Like
Mm,
what would be happening in these next 3 months? That if those 3 months went that way, that would just be like the dream. And then,
yeah.
but it's hard to know what we should do when we don't know what we want to happen, meaning
That's
knowing our
right.
Mm,
outcomes. And
yeah.
so spending the time mapping that out is very, very valuable time. Again, don't worry in the beginning exactly how that would happen. Um, First, you just need to know what it is. And then once you have your outcomes of what your ideals are, then you can start to build back of how. And I can tell you for all you guys that the how is usually a lot more doable than you think. We really, let's see, it says running at this meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay, so I guess if it ends in 10 minutes, we can just come back and zoom back on. Um,
I think
but
that's true.
but yeah. So does that make sense?
Super helpful. Yeah. I
Awesome.
don't
So
want to, I want to let the other people go
yeah.
now.
We're gonna keep moving around. Maybe we can come back to you, but I want to get as much time as possible with everybody. Awesome. So thank you, Jack.
I'm in, dealing with a company and we have goals. My goals is just to grow the team. I don't need like two big teams, but I would like to grow obviously the team. But I still need to work on production. So there's two big things that I'm doing, to keep the business running, and is allocated time where it's gonna take me a lot of time just to meet more people, have connection with them, probably doing some more videos or go over all the activity for the recruitment part that I need to accomplish, because at the end it will lead me into another level. But at the same time, I need to still on productions, because inside the company I still goals, I still responsibility, and I need to still go out there and provide service to others. So that is where I am right now. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly how can I allocate the time to accomplish both. um, so for this past month, I've been like running like crazy just to put in our productions onto the pipeline. That way I can probably say, okay, maybe I can take 2 weeks and just focus and establish the whole strategy for the recruitment part. So it's just a matter of focus and have all the teams together into one alignment process where are going to be able to accomplish more later on.
Okay. So when you say focusing, you're talking about like how much time to spend on like growing your team versus production, and then that makes you feel all over the place. Is that what you're saying?
It's more like activities. What are the activities that I need to do on my daily basis to accomplish what I want? So, and sometimes it's hard because, business and family matters. Sometimes there's a lot of external situation that keep you out of the track to be into exactly the focus of or the block time that you already prepare for you to the week in order to do that. So for me, it's just more that part.
So kind of balancing the fact that you have all of these pieces of like growth, like recruiting, production, personal life stuff, and how do you really like put all the pieces together? Is that kind of what you're saying?
But yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Ara, do you know the 80-20 rule? Are you familiar with that rule?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. So my simplest answer to this, how I try to approach it for myself and with my people also, is just getting really clear on like what your outcome is. And then, for those of you guys who might not know 80-20 rule, 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, whereas 20% of your results are coming from that other 80% of your efforts. So 20% We want to live in our 20%. Most people believe it's more like 90-10, right? So we want to live in our 10%, and our lives get very exciting when we can live there, right? So I think being extremely, extremely clear on what your outcomes are in every single one of these areas, and then you have to live in your 10%. You know, living in the 10% of each of those areas that it's going to give you your 90% return in each of those areas. And kind of being pretty specific. So for example, when you say growing your team and production, I know what you're saying, but it's also, those are very big, vague things, right?
Yes.
So let's say for this year, right? Let's say we're at the halfway point. So you've got 6 months. Do you have certain goals in mind of like where you want to be in terms of growing your team and in terms of production by January 1st, for example?
Yes, correct. So what I do is trying to divide into quarter what need to be accomplished, or what I need to accomplish on my personal thing. And not only me, because it's not only myself, you know, there's people behind me. There's people that they are with me for a reason. And I need to still provide them support, be with them in the good one and bad ones. So, and it's part of that. So definitely I work on plan, what it's going to be. So I try to evaluate every month and then every quarter. That is a plan that is a system that we have already implemented. So every quarter we review, but every month we review all the steps that I need to accomplish. And I evaluate my score just to see between 1 to 5 to see if I'm getting there, you know?
So I know your meeting's in 6 minutes. So let's try to walk out of here with some specific things. How many people do you have on your team, and how many people do you want by January 1st?
Well, I have right now my team 5 people. So my goal is try to reach at least 15 by the end of the year. That will be more than happy. Correct. And 10 more people, I think will be good. Okay. And in terms of production, I would like to see if we can reach probably between, it's only 6 months. I would say probably between 35 to 40 transactions. That would be
for everyone.
That would be for the team. And why? Because on my team, I have a lot of new agents. We need to understand that the production for new agents is not the same like when you are experienced agents. So maybe you have already your database, maybe you have already a bunch of people connections that you can sell into them your services. So I work on a structure new agents. And I always love that. I was doing that for the past, working specifically more with new agents that were experienced agents.
Right.
So that is part of my nature. So we're gonna be like working on there. So I have the goal, so I evaluate and see where we are. But the thing is, for me, it's just take the time to get focused into all the daily activity that I have on my plan on a daily basis.
So you need 10 agents in the next 6 months, which is 1.67 agents a month. So 1 to 2 agents a month over the next 6 months, and then 35 to 40 transactions. Let's say 40 divided by 6 is 6.67 deals per month in the next 6 months. And you've got 5 people plus you, so there's 6 people total.
Yes, 1 is an admin, and there's 4 agents.
Okay, 4 agents plus you, so there's 5 agents.
4 agents.
And then plus Carlos, is that 6 or?
No, it's gonna be. We are just 5 people. I'm sorry, 4 agents and 1 admin.
4 plus you and Carlos, or 4 total?
Yes.
Okay, so 6 people that need 40 deals in the next 6 months.
Correct. So that's why my goal is to hire more people in order to work harder. And if the team can grow fast and do more, perfect. We just need to be realistic with the time frame that we have. So I don't want to not be safe on term of goal, but either to exaggerate it, the reality. The reality out there is a lot of outcomes or that is putting the business sometimes into the roller coaster, We saw with prices, we saw with inventory, we saw with interest rate. Buyers are still facing a lot of issues to get approved. So we need to be realistic with what is out there. At the same time, have a goal that maybe is reachable, because that's part of have the goals. But yeah, definitely.
What has your pacing been like for the year? So you want 1.67 agents per month over the next 6 months new, and then recruited, and then you want 6.67 deals over the next 6 months. What has your pacing been like over the past 6 months? Is it like similar to that, or less, or more?
Well, so over the pace, it would say it's slower because I made a transition. I made a huge transition between April to now. So I am in the process to adapting to a new organization, and obviously it's take time adapting, into a new organization. Take time for all the agents, learn the process, learn new systems, get educated inside that new education before they say, okay, let me jump aboard now and do these actions. And that is where we are right now. And this month has been very, very successful month for us, because we already faced that onboarding process into new corporation. So now we are enrolled into get the business running like we want to run. And everybody is more like focused into productions and all that kind of stuff. So it's been like a roller coaster, but it's part of the life, it's part of the business, and we need to be there. So but for me, I enjoy every stage, even if it's hard one or even if it's a good one. I just want to go and move forward and do better, and obviously also grow. So and that's where we are.
Okay. I know how strict is your 10 o'clock meeting deadline? Do you have like 1 minute right now?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have to go, but
so I know we can always
had a chance to meet.
Yeah, I know we can always have more time, but
Yes.
or that we always need more time, but thinking about like, what is your 10% in each of these things, because we can't always get to everything. You're really busy,
Yes.
you have a lot of moving pieces. So thinking about, what exactly you're wanting to happen in each of these categories. Sounds like your clarity is pretty good, at least in those business categories.
Yeah.
But then just thinking about, okay, well, if I can't get to everything, which I know that I can't, what is my 10% that's going to get me those 1 to 2 more agents a month? Like, what do I need to be doing that's my 10%? What is my 10% for me and my agents of us spending our time that's going to get me those transactions? My time with my daughter, my time with my kids, my time for myself. Like, I maybe can't get to all of it, but what is my 10% that if I got to that, it would give me my 90% return, right? Because even though you can't get to everything, you could still get 90% of it if you live in that 10%. So really looking back over every single category, business and personal, and seeing what that 10% is for you, and just trying to make sure you're maximizing your time there. And I think that will still give you a giant improvement for all of us, because we all need to live more in the 10%. I know it'd be nice if we had more time, but is that kind of helpful though?
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Jumping into real estate and not having a paycheck drove me crazy, actually. So I turned into some kind of frustrated person sometimes, because work, and you have to wait 45 days, 2 months, 3 months, and at the end people go, oh no, there's something, I'm on probate or whatever, I can do this, I can buy this now. So paying tuition in cash. I mean, my daughter hopefully graduating, 0 debt. I have paid cash, everything. The UCF, start to pay college. I mean, it has been a struggle for me, but I've done it with love in my heart. And I'm very, very proud of myself, very proud of her. However,
it's amazing, yeah.
It's amazing. However, coming back now to my senses, I say, what about me? What have I done for myself? I gave my car, I sold my house, go figure. And yes, I opened a corporation and I've been doing this and that as a chef, because I am certified as a food chef. But you know what? That is very hard work. So I just noticed that I'm getting kind of sick, my hands. kind of sick. So I say, what am I going to do now? Because wait, I'm working as a full-time realtor. I'm always at the office with Tony and Amy and Kyle and all these guys. I mean, we're helping each other out. We're a big family in our office.
Yeah.
But waiting for a closing is not the same when I have a bill from UCF say you need to pay $3,000 or $4,000 in 2 days. See? So in that case, right now I am very confused. So I don't know if I should cut my real estate business into half time. So it's gonna get even worse, right? Because then it makes it harder. I'm not going back to timeshare. I swore myself I would never do that again. Just going out there and being a caterer, it pays. But I'm tired. So I think I need help. That's why I signed off for you guys to give me a hand, Justin, see what you can tell me. I'm applying for jobs. I'm trying to find maybe a remote job, which I have a couple of interviews coming up this week for amazing corporations. I mean, I'm a pro in sales. I can sell if I did sell timeshare for 18 years. You go figure. I feel like I can sell anything. I can sell an ice cooler to people from Alaska. You know what I mean? It's like, um, so- but I'm sad right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I understand. I
I
understand.
need money. I want money. I'm a money maker,
Yeah.
but real estate is so challenging. It started off so weird this year. However, our office have 185 closed deals already so far. We're doing
Good.
amazing in Optima,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm not in the list, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
What is your outcome? Like, what are you wanting to happen? Is it money? Like, is money the top priority right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Let me ask you this.
situation.
Why did you stop or why did you stop doing timeshare and why do you say you'll never go back?
That's a great question. Well, I found myself not comfortable
Like ethically?
ethically
Okay.
selling because so many years in a row I had a lot of communication with my owners. I call them my timeshare owners. I was always available for them to reach me back in case they needed help. But when economy started falling apart in South America, they all started calling me and begging me to have them sign out of what I've sold them. And you know, in timeshare, that's impossible. You're stuck to these timeshares for the rest of your life, whether you
Yeah.
not.
Even past the rest of your life. I know it's passed down to your kids when you die.
Oh, you know better. So
Yeah,
they,
yeah, I know.
I look a little bit in the back, and I was a top seller always. I was always an in-house, the top ranking sales, and I don't recall why. But how did I manage to sell so many beautiful families? Something that I knew it wasn't tangible. Something that I knew they weren't even be able to pay for it. And when they went back home and they came to their senses within over 10 days and they will say, Berna, please sign us out. Now that we're looking at, we need to do this, we need to do that, we're not going to be able to afford it. And I say, well, I'm sorry. Fortunately, there's nothing I can do. So imagine how I felt. So that's what broke my heart. I broke my own heart and I have to like change my phone number, change my emails, and resign and go away. I don't even want to talk to them anymore because I don't know what I'm going to tell them.
Okay. Got it. So ethically, you don't want to go back to
I'm
it.
not proud. Yeah, made a lot of money, but money is garbage sometimes.
Yeah, no, I understand. So money's the top priority. Um, how long you been in real estate, you said?
I actually started just a couple of years ago when the whole situation with the COVID started. And then,
So you started like 2 years ago.
yeah,
Okay.
until
Um, how
yeah.
have you done over the past 2 years?
I sold a couple of houses only. I switched from one brokerage to another because I grew up in Miami, so my brokerage was in West Palm Beach. They weren't very helpful. They have thousands and thousands of reps. They're signature real estate company if you want to look at that.
Yeah.
But when I noticed that I wasn't getting the help to go ahead and, you know, and get more deals, close more deals, I'm running out of battery. So I went and switched and I went and researched all over my town here in Claremont, and I found Optima as one of my priorities, like one of the most family oriented places to work as a realtor. So that's why I joined them.
Okay. So how many homes have you sold over the past 2 years since you started?
Over the past 2 years, three. It's just a tough situation because I'm comfortable, I'm married, we don't need anything extra. But coming to my senses, I say, where is real estate going to take me now? Or do I
So
need to start finding another source of income?
so the top priority is money, you're saying, right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
And you can't go back to timeshare because ethically you just don't feel comfortable doing that.
Exactly. They offered me chunks of money to come back.
And then for real estate, you sold the three houses like in the past 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the more, the more desperate the money situation is, which it sounds like maybe it is, because that's why you're feeling this way. I would probably recommend just getting something that can pay your bills, pay your expenses for sure. There were times over the past 2 years when that I've been doing my business. It's been like 2 years, a little over 2 years. There was a time where I was driving delivery for Domino's,
Okay.
and I did that because it was easy job to get, easy to get in, easy to get out. And um, it was gonna be enough money that the rest of that money was what I needed to pay my bills. I didn't need to, work outside of that job. Obviously, it's not a job you take home with you. So, I did that for a while. And then there was also a period of time in these past 2 years where I was selling cars for Lexus.
Wow.
Selling cars while working on my business. So there were times where money was so bad that I did need other stuff. So, it sounds like in your situation that, you know, how much more money do you need to make per month right now?
To make per month?
Yeah, how much more do you need?
Well, it's tuition bills. So right now I have maybe $6,000 that I need to pay because I end up using credit cards, and that's a big mistake to pay tuition.
So you
So
need
I use
so
credit cards right now.
how much more money per month do you need to have coming in to pay for the stuff you need to pay for?
At least another $3,000 a month,
Okay.
between three and four. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's somewhere between 36,000 and 12, 24, and 48,000. 36,000 a year to 48,000 a year. You could get a job making that real freaking quick. So
Okay.
what I would recommend, I mean, I don't know all the details of your situation, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, but the more money is like really, really cutting it close, like you're kind of on that like zero line, which I've been on before, even for long periods of time, which is very scary. Very, very stressful and very anxiety producing. Um, I would recommend just getting a job that makes 36 to $48,000 a year as soon as possible. Or I mean, if you need that amount, maybe let's say 50 grand. If you had a job that was making 50,000 plus a year, all of a sudden you're paying for your stuff and you're surviving. You know,
That's right.
so your life would really be a lot less stressful right now if you had a job like that. You've only sold three houses in the past 2 years, so the more you're on that zero line, that kind of fight or flight panic mode, the more I don't necessarily think you're just gonna go sell another couple houses in the next 30 days or something,
No.
So what I would recommend you do if I was in your situation or I was helping you is I would look up jobs making at least $50,000 a year, in the general, 30, 45 minute radius of where you live, or whatever. and make a big list or big database of like, at least 30 different jobs, making that at least 50 grand a year. And, write out the name, the phone number, the email, who to contact, whatever, and just treat them like leads. Treat them like leads. Like apply to all of them, call all of them, go in and door knock all of them. Hi, my name is Berna. I just applied for this position. I'd love to get an interview with somebody. Who can I speak with? What is the next step? I'm really interested. Do that for all 30 of those places, and you're gonna get something pretty freaking fast. I mean, I would say if you do that, within 30 days, you should have something.
Okay, Justin, I am going to take advantage of this situation. I have been applying through Indeed, and
Good.
I just had um, I'm gonna read it for you. Say, dear Berna, your virtual interview for this position is on July 5th. You'll be an internal employee, so we'll notify you. This is a Duke Energy virtual interview
Uh-huh.
for a residential solution service coordinator. Bilingual is a must.
Uh-huh.
So they already reviewed my resume and they are going to do this interview maybe the same way we are right now, like
Uh-huh.
but they're saying it's a Microsoft team meeting. Do you know anything about that? This is something new for me. Microsoft instead of Zoom meeting, it's Microsoft Teams meeting.
I don't know. I mean, you could ask them, you could call and just be like, hey, I'm supposed to have this meeting,
Really? Should I do that really?
Yeah, yeah, I would say to
I am
call
so
and
scared. I
just to,
am scared.
no, you don't have to be scared, just to make sure you understand what the format is of the meeting. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I
Okay.
said, if I was in your situation, what I would do is make a list of 30 plus places making 50 grand a year or more. Treat
Okay.
them all like leads, like hot leads, like this person is about to buy from you, because when you're looking
Okay.
for a job, those are leads, and
Yeah.
apply to all of them, call all of them, walk in and door knock all of them. If you do that, I think you should have something within 30 days. Remember, paying 50 grand plus, because you got to be able to pay for your stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're not in crazy mode anymore, or you're still in crazy mode, but you're paying for your stuff, you know?
Right.
So don't worry about real estate right now. Real estate right now is not the top priority.
I
It's
needed
just,
to hear that. I needed
yeah,
to hear that from someone.
yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Helpful?
If it makes me feel kind of sad though because I love real estate. You
Well,
know,
look, it doesn't mean you can never do real
it's
estate again, or that you have to
really
quit it
smart.
forever or whatever. You could even still do real estate while you have this full-time job, but you really do need to survive. And it sounds like what you're saying is like that's kind of what you need right now. You have to survive. Things are kind of crazy, like really crazy. So,
Really
the
crazy.
more crazy it is, which it sounds like you're saying it is, get the job, make sure that you survive, and then once you're surviving again, you can start to allocate some more time to real estate. But um, we have to survive. If you
We
had all
have
these
to
hot
survive.
leads and it looked like you were going to sell a home in the next 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
then that's great. But it sounds like that's not really the case. So get the job, survive, and then you can kind of allocate, 10 to 20% of your time or so to real estate. And then as things get better and you're surviving and maybe you're starting to sell some houses, then maybe you can start to allocate more time to real estate. Maybe you can start to step away from having a job. But for right now, the top priority is surviving. And so that's what you want to do.
All right.
Cool.
God, thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. It was good to see you.
Good to see you too, Justin. I'll keep in touch.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.